When 9/11 occurred, I was 19 years old, and I wasn't someone at that point that was interested in joining the military. But it took some time, and I realized the things I was doing in my life, going to school and working, wasn't enough for me. And then when the Iraq War kicked off in 2003, I knew it was time. I was ready, my decision was made. I have a lot of history of military service in my family, but all of it was either Army or Navy. So I chose the Marine Corps to do something different and to challenge myself. So initially I wanted to be a military police officer in the Marine Corps, and I was told I had to wait till the next fiscal year, which would have been 7 months from that moment, to take that job. So I was like, well, let me think about something else. So the recruiter sold me on a job called Combat Engineer, which is 1371. I served for 6 years, active and reserve component. I was deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2004 in Al Anbar Province, Iraq. What we did there, I was assigned to 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. It's an infantry battalion, and I was part of the headquarters and service company as an engineer element. While I was there, we were in the Second Battle of Fallujah in November 2004, which is called Operation Al Farja. And our battalion was one of the main assault battalions for the whole effort. And it was us to help liberate the city of Fallujah from the terrorists that had taken over and to prepare them for the elections coming in the January 2005. I just turned 22 when I went to Iraq, and it's hard to explain the feeling of being there to anything relative to our life here. You know, going from a first world country to a third world country was challenging. Working around a lot of the local towns there, you know, we'd be at the police stations here, we would be on patrol over here, and we see a lot of the kids. These kids they're just like kids here. And that's one of the most special moments I had when I was in Iraq, was working around some of the kids, and they'd always be like, Mr. Chocolata, Chocolata. Like they want our food and our candy, and you know, we love to share with them as much as we could. It's been 13 years since I was there. I think about those little 9, 10-year-old boys that were probably hanging around us. They're grown men now, and I just hope that we had some kind of good effect on their lives as just people. We might have had a battle and had some things get torn down or burnt down or blown up, but we were still there to help rebuild it once that was over. As a Marine serving this country, I would recommend and tell someone, just understand you're gonna have some bonds that you will create that will last your entire life. You will meet some men and some women that you'll never forget. Some of those men and women may not make it home, but you gotta understand that's part of service. You just gotta challenge yourself and know that you're being something bigger than yourself. You're giving back in a huge way for something that you love, that you will sacrifice for, and that you will lay your life down for. I decided to get out of the Marine Corps, and I got a job as a government civilian contractor, and our job was to teach combat skills for pre-deployment units going all over the world. And I love that. I did it for 6 years. That's the job I did until I came here working with the schools. What inspired me to come work here with the school division was having 2 parents that were educators. My mom was a retired public school kindergarten teacher, and my father was an IT instructor for the University of Virginia. I really wanted to work with schools because when Sandy Hook Elementary was attacked in 2012, I had to just sit back and say, wow, that could have been my mom's classroom when she was teaching. And I thought, you know what, my active shooter training I was providing when I worked for the government as an instructor, I wanted to give back and do that for schools. So one of the most rewarding parts of this job is just seeing the development of individuals in their schools just challenging themselves to do the right thing. Because one thing we have to guarantee these kids when they're in our care is safety, security, and accountability. So my goal in Iraq was to help create a safe place for those kids to live in. Just like my goal here with Prince William County Public Schools is to help create a safe place for these kids to learn in, and also a safe community to live in.